A growing number of consumers are concerned about food safety following a series of recalls. Kraft Heinz just announced a precautionary recall for about 7,000 cases of Taco Bell's salsa con queso mild cheese dip after they discovered a possibility of botulism growth. And Flour Foods is recalling its Swiss rolls after learning salmonella could be lurking in the whey used to make the snack. Pepperidge Farm is making a huge voluntary recall of more than 3 million packages of Goldfish crackers. The company told CBS News 4 varieties may be tainted with salmonella. And as of now, no confirmed illnesses have been officially reported. Like Swiss rolls, though, the whey powder, which is used in the seasoning, may contain the contaminant.
And Mondelez International, maker of the popular Ritz cracker products, has also issued a recall for 16 varieties of its product. According to the FDA, there is no evidence these products are contaminated. Michael Moss is an investigative reporter who won a Pulitzer Prize for his reporting on food, and he joins us on set. Good to see you.
Hey, thank you.
So, people usually don't associate salmonella with Ritz crackers or Goldfish. If anything, we were talking about this in the green room, if anything, you think to yourself, this is as safe as it gets because these foods are highly processed, they're put under these immense heat lamps and, treated. How does this happen?
So I was amazed when I started writing about this 10 years ago that these companies are relying on this incredibly complex global chain for acquiring their ingredients, through which sometimes ingredients go through several other little companies before they get to the big food manufacturer. And problems can happen anywhere along that chain. Tracing back is a real problem for the companies too, kind of figuring out, okay, I've got a problem in my finished product here. Where did it come from and how did it happen? And it's infinitely complex and scary.
And is there a common denominator with the Ritz crackers and the Goldfish?
Yeah, the common denominator is this thing called whey, which is this liquidy byproduct from making cheese and also to some extent Greek yogurt. We used to throw it away, but it's turned into this $12 billion a year product because it's something of a miracle ingredient for processed food companies. It has protein, it has some taste, but it also helps keep food together. It helps the color and the texture and the transportability, all these things you kind of don't think about, but is vital to highly processed foods that go in the grocery shop.
But isn't it pasteurized in some way? When I think of whey, I think a heat process to separate the curds from the whey, right?
Yeah. So we don't know yet how the salmonella got into this whey product. There could have been a flaw, not so likely, during the pasteurization product. Most likely, though, it happened afterward. These factories that handle dry ingredients, whether it's flour or peanuts, have to be watertight like submarines. The best ones will have air pressure, so you open the door to go to the room where the food's being assembled, and the air won't go in, it will come out to keep contamination in. The worst of the factories will have holes in the roof, mice running around, workers bringing salmonella in on their shoes, and then the water provides an environment where the bug will thrive and suddenly you have the problem.
So, Michael, so one of the recommendations that people have is, look, don't eat some of this stuff that's processed that is not necessarily good for you, right? And I'm not disparaging those the crackers or the Goldfish, but eat more fresh ingredients. But if you go by that, I mean, isn't the risk of salmonella or some other contamination greater when you're getting some of these farm-to-table things? Like I'm French, I eat a lot of cheese, I eat a lot of unpasteurized cheese. Am I at a greater risk for contamination, eating something contaminated?
Yeah,
oysters?
You're pretty right. There is a little irony in that fresh, wholesome food can be at risk too. So you have to think about that lettuce. You have to wash it. It all depends kind of like how much risk you want to take. I love oysters. I'm never going to give them up unless there's a really bad problem.
Right.
But there is a certain amount of risk of getting a foodborne illness from eating oysters. 1 million people a year get sick from a bug in food that they're eating, or some other sort of foodborne illness thing going on. 1 million, yeah. So it's most of those are resolved themselves. They don't have to get hospitalized. But these pathogens can be and are deadly.
It certainly feels like we are hearing about these recalls more and more. I feel like at least twice a month, you know, and admittedly, sometimes when you sort of read through the script, it's sort of a preemptive recall and there isn't a lot of going on, but it feels that way. Is it just that it feels that way?
No, there has been a jump this year. Yeah, absolutely. But again, is that reflecting? Is it just binding these cases more, right? Discovering kind of what the problem was for whatever reason, or is it in fact kind of more contamination that's just boiling up to the surface?
You know what I think it is about the goldfish in particular is like if you have a kid that's like 9 and under, maybe
and picky,
it's like one
eater.
of their primary food groups.
Right.
Goldfish, you know, like parents really rely on that. So I think when a lot of people heard it, they were like, "Oh my gosh, last thing you want is a sick kid."
About everything else that you would eat that comes from a carton or a plastic bag that's sitting on a shelf for like in some cases months and months. Right?
Yeah, and the thing that sort of gets me too is that you don't have control over that. You can't wash the goldfish, or you're not going to be very popular with your kids, right? So at least with kind of whole food that you're cooking yourself, you do. It seems to me you have like more control over it, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah.
You can wash it, you can scrub it, you can peel it, you can
cook it
the
within
hell
an inch
out
of its life.
Yeah.
Michael Moss, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.